So who did you listen to first of all?
First.
Who do you remember you first heard play the blues?
Actually, it wasn't pure blues. It was Pink Floyd, but I mean, it was a "Wish You Were Here" album. He copied it on a tape cassette and handed it to me. Actually, on one side was "Wish You Were Here," on the other side was "Atom Art Mother."
Who?
Atom Art Mother, the one with the cow.
Atom Art Mother.
There's a lot of blues in it, but it took me a while to get back to the real blues, like the old stuff from the.
So to take us down that route from Pink Floyd to the blues. Tell me, what were the stopping off points? When did you find yourself listening to Americans?
Yeah. As far as I remember, was after those two albums and Pink Floyd, there were other English band. Maybe the first American band I listened to was Grand Funk Railroad. There was this other album he handed it to me, was live album 1970. Yeah, there's a lot of elements. There's blues and funk, of course, and rock and roll. But just at the end of this path, I get to know the old guys. Like, I mean, Robert Johnson, Skip James, all these guys. It took me a while because it was some kind of a process. You know, when you're young, you can appreciate something, but when you're very young, you know, but you need something else. Maybe you don't have the right focus. No.
So how old were you when you started playing the blues?
I started playing the guitar around that time, 10 years old, and I started playing. I think I started playing the blues just, I would say, maybe 10, 12 years old, 12 years ago.
So from there, how do you get to playing, deciding to be a professional musician? So what's the process? You're playing at home for your uncle. What was your dad doing at the time?
My dad.
Well, your uncle was turning on to the music that your dad should have been playing for you.
Yeah, my dad was never into music. I mean, he's into other stuff. He's a teacher. He used to be a math and physics teacher.
Oh, that explains.
He has a penchant for bricolage and trains. There's a connection somehow. He likes trains.
We'd like to know how you. Yeah, okay. Pretty tenuous, but a connection. I want to know how you got to be considering yourself as a blues musician. I mean, from fooling around at 10 years old, at what point did you think, hey, this is important, it's going to affect my life? I mean, tell us the process. For instance, living where you lived, for instance, were you hanging around other musicians, or was it just you on your own?
Point was me on my own up to the time I went to the high school, and then I started playing with other guys I could share some music taste with, and we had some school bands, but that, you know, music has ever resonated with me somehow. There was something that was talking to me, and then I happened to find out a long time later that was some kind of code that I just couldn't get completely. It was a process, as I said before. It was something that was pulling me back. And when I realized, okay, I'm gonna do this for a living, it was right about the time I started this project, Blues Against Youth.
Which was when?
Was 12 years old. 12 years ago. I'm sorry.
That's impressive for a second minute. So, had you a regular job at the time, or what were you doing?
I used to be. I am still a graphic designer. I'm a freelance graphic designer. But what I do for a living is mainly playing shows. And sorry. What was the question? The exit question.
When you decided to quit being a full-time graphic designer and went on the road. Did you work locally? Is there much work in Italy? Did you find yourself traveling? Tell us the story.
Yeah. Well, previously I used to play with, in my teenage time and late teenage time, my 20s, I used to play with this kind of punk rock, hardcore band. And so I made some connections in Italy as well as outside of Italy, in Europe. So at the very beginning of Blues Against Youth, I used these connections and started traveling by myself. It was really nice. It still is. It's like some kind of adventure and challenging, and you learn how to take care of yourself and how to deal with very different situations, you know.
And your recordings, you're a fairly prolific recorder, aren't you?
Yeah.
How many albums have you released, recorded so far?
So far, I released five full-length albums.
In 12 years?
In 12 years.
Not
And there are other 5 releases on 7-inch 45s.
Okay. Oh, you're still releasing on vinyl?
Yeah, I always done that.
Great. I see your current album over there is on vinyl too. Have you never released on CD?
Yeah, I do release on CD, but what I care most is the LP, because somehow, because of my uncle as well, I've always been
Well, it sounds
It's a
better. Well, you're going to be terrified of him. What he might do to you if you only release on CD.
sorry, what you
I wasn't being totally serious. I said, you were searching for the word related to your uncle, and I said, terrified. You must be terrified of your uncle if you release things on CD. He beat you up, or
No, I actually grew up listening music on CDs as well, of course. It just
So talk to me about your American influences. You must be listening to stuff like Robert Johnson and Muddy and Simon and Buddy Guy. And who do you listen to? Tell us
rather than those guys, which you just mentioned, which I really appreciate, I got to the Delta blues. Thanks, because at one point I got really into country music, so I discovered Hank Williams and all those guys who followed this path somehow, you know, the Townes Van Zandt. While listening to Townes Van Zandt and reading about his life history, life story, I found out that he was really influenced by Lightning Hopkins, especially his guitar playing. So then I could see Lightning Hopkins, which I already knew, from some kind of different perspective. And all this lead me to the blues. And nowadays I've been listening to, you know, Harry Thomas, the Texas Ragtime. And Lightning Hopkins is from Texas as well. I must have a penchant for Texas music somehow. And then other blues musicians I really like, Son House, Mississippi John Hurt, Mississippi Frank McDowell, Blind Willie Johnson, from different period of time.
Sam Chapman.
Sam
Chapman.
Yeah,
He's sort of in that kind. So really, unlike a lot of musicians, Chicago doesn't figure very much in your thinking.
I like it, but at one point it gets a little boring to me. But probably because just I'm not there yet. You know, it's still a process. I have to get there and understand properly what it's all about. Maybe I didn't get it.
There's something happening in Italy these days. We've had quite a few Italian bluesmen come to England in recent years, and in the jazz scene, there's jazz and blues. There's a band from a village whose name I can't remember called the Jim Dandies. Have you heard them? Jim Dandies. Yeah. So do you get lots of blues on Italian radio? Is it easily available in Italy? Because
I wouldn't say
you
easily.
don't normally associate the blues with Italy.
No, there are some people who are really dedicated to the blues. There's a good friend of mine. You probably met this guy. So got in touch with Gianluca Diana. He's running this radio blues program since for over 15 years. Mojo Station, and he puts on shows, and they do festival every year. For example, this guy, and there's quite good network of blues scene. There's a scene, but I wouldn't say that it's easily listenable, because mainly the stuff broadcasted in Italian radios is mainstream, easy listening. Some of this music I wouldn't call it music here.
So, is there much work for a bluesman in Italy, or do you tend to work outside Italy?
Yeah, it's mostly outside. I have to say, most of the show.
Tell me about your good territories. Which are the good areas to work in?
I really play a lot in France, Switzerland, Germany. I always play there in Central Europe. Also Belgium, Holland, been to Czech Republic, Denmark, Austria. Austria's really good too. There's a very receptive public. I like Italy. I mean, it's not that I don't like it, it's just that I have more opportunities to play outside, and it's usually brings more fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, traveling is part of it, isn't it? So.
Traveling, yeah, because you meet new people, you make connections, and somehow you find your path. And I like it.
Well, we're going to listen to you very soon. Tell me about your repertoire. Is it a lot of original material, or?
Yeah, I play a lot of original songs that I wrote. I also do covers times. I mean, at least three, 4 covers each set. I like to play that, and I take this music from my favorite country music selection, as well as my blues selection. Lately, it's more bluesy. It really depends on the moment. Lately, it's more bluesy.
Well, and it's going to be very, very interesting to hear tonight. Would anyone like to ask Gianni any questions? I always say, Chico.
What sort of open tunings do you use on your guitar?
On this guitar, I play an open D.
Open D.
Open D.
Right. Bit of slide.
Yeah.
Slide guitar.
Bit of slide, bit of finger picking.
Nice.
I'm really into.
What sort of?
One I forgot to say.
What sort of finger picking? Claw, as in country, or?
I managed to. I was influenced by different styles.
Yeah.
I think I managed to do my own one.
Yeah, good. I should watch out for that.
I mean, it's really influenced by the first finger picking thing, the stroke a chord. For me was John Fay.
John Fay, yeah, good.
John Fay.
Yeah.
And all these guys all around.
Harmonic.
Tacoma Records.
Yeah. Finger and thumb harmonic.
Yeah, it's great.
John Fay, yeah. Nice.
And also Mississippi, John Hurt. And John Fay himself, he used to, if you study this very old finger picking styles from the old blues,
yeah,
I think he wrote a his degree thesis on Charlie Parton.
Yeah.
So he was really into that, and he himself he developed his own way.
Do you ever sing some of the originals in Italian, or is that? This is where Jim falls off his chair. And do you sing your own songs in Italian?
I don't know my songs is in Italian language. I had something written down, but I was never sure about that. I grew up listening to this music which is sung in English, and
you don't think about translating or changing the words.
Yeah, I guess it would sound different.
Yes.
Maybe it's not the time yet, you know. Probably at one point I would be writing songs in Italian. It's just that if you write songs in Italian, you can just play in Italy. Otherwise, people will not understand. You know, my references, my Italian references are really top-notch ones. So if I sing in Italian, I would compare to these guys. Like some Italian. I don't know if you're familiar with Italian performers like Lucio Battisti from the 60s and 70s, and Fabrizio De André. There's Tenco. It was very high standard that I would be afraid not to hit. And so that's another reason why I'm a bit shy doing this kind of thing.
Don't be shy. All right, thank you. Right.
So why aren't you crazy about muddy waters like the rest of us? Why does muddy water, McKinley Moore, why does he not figure high on your list? Because he's the man.
Yeah,
Isn't he?
Yeah,
Muddy.
he's the man.
Yeah.
I like Muddy Waters. I like.
Safe answer.
It's just that I never got hooked on his music as much as I did with other people. But I totally respect him, of course. I didn't want to.
I will put that down as a good defense. Right, we're going to change over. We're going to start with some great rocky Italian blues. First time. Henry's, it's going to be very special. So have the music back on for a few minutes, please. Thank you. We'll have a changeover. And thank you, Gianni Tbay.